Okay, are the Texans going to win the division? If you're new to the channel, we make videos for teams that are ignored by the national media, Texans being one of those. You can look back at our videos. We were all over the Texans from the beginning. We're Detroit Lions fans, but we loved what the Texans did this offseason, who they brought in, coach, quarterback. It's all looking good. And I think they're a team that can win the division. And I'm going to show you two reasons why. Let's take a look at it right from the start here. Let's just take a look at the schedule, if nothing else, right? Just from and again, I'm being an outsider's perspective as a Detroit Lions fan, just looking at the schedule, and then we'll dive into why they match up well with the Jags, and I think they can win the division. So let's take a look at it. Huge win against the Saints. This was a disappointing one against the Falcons, no doubt about that. But you redeem yourself, get this win against the Saints. Now Panthers, got to win this game, got to beat the Buccaneers as well, right? These next two games are huge, but really I wanted to focus on these four. If you're a Texans fan, you're like, all right, let's kind of get serious about this. If we win 3 out of the next 4, maybe just 3 out of the next 4 with one, probably 2 of these is really winnable games. Buccaneers, maybe they're not as good. Baker Mayfield, I mean, come on, he's not good. I mean, geez, Baker Mayfield's not good. But you look at it, let's win 3 out of the next 4, and then we would be what, 6-4. You're 6-4. You're going to be right in the mix leading for the division, and then boom, here it is, the Jacksonville Jaguars game. If you go into that game, and you're 4-4 or whatever it is, where you're like not in contention and you're 3 games back of the Jags, then kind of forget about it, right? It'd just be too hard with only 6 games remaining and you're down 4. But if you can win 3 out of these next 4 manageable games, then this game against the Jags will be everything, kind of a Thanksgiving situation there. Love it. Why does it work, and why do they match up with the Jags? Let's take a look here. If you look at the division, the Jags are 5-2 and picked by many to win the AFC South. Okay, fine. Texans are 3-3. In yards per game, they have the 4th ranked run defense, but the 31st ranked pass defense. Texans are pass heavy right now, and it feeds into their plans. This series historically belongs to the Texans. They lead the 43-game series. That doesn't really matter, but they're 10-1 in their last 11 versus the Jags. The Texans and the Jags, kind of a sneaky little, and this just like goes perfectly with our whole channel. No one talks about that, like rivalry, like Texans Jags, right? No one cares, and it's like, yeah, but the Texans, this is going to be huge. So when they meet in 4 weeks or whatever it is, 5 weeks, it's going to be huge. And so the team just behind the Texans is the Colts. I mean, come on. Anthony Richardson out for the season. Great news for the Texans right there. Come on. The Colts, good story. Happy for them, but they're not going to be real contention. While they have the best defense in the division, their offense just lost a dynamic player. Gardner Minshew, Ellinger. I mean, come on. They're not going to be able to do it. So then there are the Titans at 2-4, resting the bottom of the barrel. Derrick Henry was a subject of trade rumors. Titans, there's no juice there either. So you look at the division, and this is what we're talking about and why this is just great news. Let me go to the standings here, and you can look at it and see exactly on paper. You've got Jacksonville 5-2, fine. Texans, Colts, Titans. So we knew the Jags were going to be good. We like the Jags as well. We've been talking about them. There's another team that just doesn't get the love. This whole division doesn't really get the love nationally. But Jags, they're on a little bit of streak. They've won 4 in a row. Cool. But you're not worried about the Colts or the Texans. So it comes down to the Jags. And you match up well with the Jags. You've owned that game for the last 11 matchups. Everything looks good there. And again, it comes back. You got to keep pace, general pace. And then when you play the Jags, what a swing if you can win that game. So all the news is trending in the right way for the Texans to take this division. And why it's a big deal to take a division is because it's home. It's a home playoff game. You make the playoffs if you win the division, and you get a home playoff game. So the Texans have the coach, have the quarterback. Defense is playing well. You've got receivers emerging, and you just while in the midst of a rebuild. I mean, seriously, right? It's a rebuild. You've got a rookie quarterback. You're only going to add and get better. In the midst of that, if you can win the division, oh my gosh, talk about the momentum and the opportunity to keep doing things the right way. I mean, as a Lions fan, terrible, terrible, terrible. Trying to rebuild, had to take it down to the studs, and that whole season in 2021 was terrible. I started the season 0-10. Like that's just forget that season, right? Then the next season, start 1-6. I mean, just trying to figure it out, get it, and then finally get it. Or if the Texans can win during the rebuild, then when they actually have a couple really good drafts, if they can, and then they can really start winning. So it's all positive, all really good news in this race for the AFC South crown. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next one.